Hey, what's good, guys? Ezekiel the Barber back with another video for you guys. Got a pretty cool video for you guys today. If you're not already, like, share, subscribe. Make sure you get those notifications when I drop new videos. So this today is the haircut that we're going to be doing. So it's kind of like a faux hawk with a little design in there. Right. And this is the guy that we're going to be performing this haircut on. Right. So as you can see, quite a long shot from where this haircut is on my phone. This guy has a lot of hair, so mom brought him in looking to get him a good haircut. So I have my work cut out with me today. So she's trying to make sure that that design's in there, that we put that in there just as it is on the picture she gave me. So once again, let's go ahead and kind of show you my client. And this is basically what we're going for. So once again, a lot of hair, long shot from where this haircut is on my phone. Here it is there. All right, so basically kind of like a faux hawk with the design in there. So let's go ahead and get started. Right, so you are in the cut with Ezekiel the Barber and this young man right here. As you see, this is how things are going before the haircut. So kind of a 360 version for you right there. As with all my haircuts, I always like to disinfect, sanitize my clippers. And then I always like to comb through the hair, kind of go for a pretty good hair analysis check just to kind of make sure everything checks out before we get into the haircut. Looks like everything checks out pretty good here, so once again, we'll go ahead and get started and jump right in. So this is what we're working with. Let's go ahead and get into the cut. Now, whenever I have this much hair that I'm working with and I'm taking quite a bit of hair off, I always like to, have that picture working with me as much as possible, just kind of as a diagram to kind of follow. All right, so as I turned around, my man snuck in and wanted to say what's up to y'all, so y'all say what's up to my man. Ready to get that transformation. So here I'm using the Octane clipper. I'm going to start with the 3-0 guard. Now, the Octane does come with the number 1 and the 000, so that's what I like about it, because the 000, I can actually kind of use that to put Andis guards on. So that's exactly what I'm going to do now. So these interchangeable pieces, this is the Andis number 3 guard. So since he has so much hair and I need to get things knocked down, I thought it would be a good idea to just go ahead and get everything to a nice clean palette. Since my haircut's gonna be under this number 3 guard anyways, it just makes sense to get a lot of this bulk out so that I can kind of see exactly what I'm doing. So here, just grabbing that number 3 guard and just going straight up. So just looking to get a lot of that bulk out of the hair. Definitely a technique that I use often. It will definitely save you time in a barbershop to cut with a clean palette such as this. So whenever they come in with a lot of hair, this is the go-to technique. And the go-to clippers, for all that matters. The Octane, great clipper, as you can see. All right, so it looks like we got everything down kind of to a good manageable spot. We're in the cut with Ezekiel the Barber, as you see there. So this is the progress so far. This is what that number 3 guard looks like. So if we were looking to do a number 3, we would be pretty much close to done. So this is before the haircut. Then this is with the number 3 guard. But we have a lot more work to do. All right, and since his hair is so long on top, I thought it would be a good idea to kind of get some of the hair out of his face and kind of get a lot closer to the length that we're going for in that picture. So just putting a little bit of water here definitely helps keeping the hair together before we use the shears. All right, so giving the mirror to my man here. The faces. Had to freeze frame on that one. That's a good one. So we're just going for the desired length as in the picture. All right, so as him and mom kind of figure out what's a good length for us to start at, we're definitely going to take the majority of this hair off the top. So just trying to find a good starting place, even though we'll probably take more later. This is still enough to kind of get a lot of that bulk off and a lot of that hair off that's grown out that of course they don't want. Alright, so let's go ahead. Looks like we kind of found and agreed on a pretty good length. So we'll go ahead and set that guideline and go ahead and start with the shear trim. Now typically for hair this long, you won't find a guard this big. So that's why I do appreciate the shears, because when the guards run out as far as their length, then you still gotta have something to do the cut with. So the shears work perfect. As you can see, that hair is coming off effortlessly. We are in the cut. So just a little bit more water. Sometimes as a barber, your clients will come in and they'll have really thick hair, such as this young man, and the water will basically dry up really quick. So the hair is so thick that it absorbs, the water super quick. So sometimes you have to put a little bit of water and periodically check to see if the consistency has changed, because it does change pretty quick with thicker hair. So always using that blow dryer to kind of keep out any loose hair that may still be in the hair that's not supposed to be there. So we definitely want to get that out. All right, so this is kind of where we are now. So that hair is not in his face so much. We've taken quite a bit of length off the sides, though, however, we definitely have a lot more to go. So at this point, I'm gonna start forming that V shape. All right, so we'll go ahead and start getting into that. Now I want to take a little bit more hair off the sides going into the top, so I decided to use that number 4 guard, and then I'll just basically almost freehand taking some of this hair off the sides, such as that. Kind of working in the area going into the top of his head. This area was kind of thick, so I decided to use the 4 guard. Now sometimes, usually the 4, 5, 6 guard, depending on the hairstyle and haircut, you could use a different guard in this region. So I just felt like the number 4 would work better, and it seems to kind of work really good. And my whole main objective here is just to basically create a smooth transition from the sides going into the top. So we use the number 3 guard. The number 4 or 5 guard would be my next suggestion. So I decided to try the number 4 and it worked just fine. So I didn't have to go to the number 5 to do that. So. Now sometimes you can use the number 4 guard for like a 5 guard or any guard for the next guard for all that matters by just not going as flush, but that does come with experience. So here we're going to take a look at what we're going for again. So I'm gonna use the #1 guard to try to create the fade, but there is a design, so it is kind of in the way of a faux hawk where it kind of peaks in the back. So right now I'm basically gonna create that with the #1 guard. Now from the picture, it does seem like it's coming from bald from the bottom going into the top. Though I am using this #1 to set my next guideline, I can eventually go bald, but of course I can't put the hair back. All right, so just gonna make my way all the way around. As you see that kind of V shape in the back, that's going to be where I'm gonna put the line, but slightly above
like,
that.
To me, it's right in the parietal ridge.
So it just kind of keeps me in tune to where I'm gonna put my point in.
Right? Yeah. So I keep it dark here. I'll put the lines, and then I'll fade that up to that point. That makes sense? Okay, yeah. So that looks about right. We'll take that line right to about here. Yeah, on both sides. So the point will be about here, and I can fade this darkness up into that, right? Okay, cool.
Now, sometimes I like to kind of be rhetorical with clients just to make sure that they understand and I understand what they want me to do. So in that case, I did ask, a time or two just to, make sure that I knew and they knew kind of what we were going for. So, kind of eliminates, any surprises. So here I decided to kind of clipper over comb some of that thickness down so that it will allow me to put that design in. So I used that 4 guard, but I still needed a little bit more hair off and that parietal ridge area for those trimmers to kind of get through the hair to make a clean line. So sometimes if you leave too much hair, those lines could come out, who knows how they could come out. So just looking to take a lot of those longer hairs off that kind of would prevent me from putting a clean line in. All right. This guy's doing an exceptional job. So we're gonna put some of these hair clamps in to keep the hair out of the way. This is gonna be kind of where I'm gonna attempt to put the line. Now, sometimes you can put it in dry. Some people's hair works better when it's wet. The wet hair kind of keeps everything in sync better. So, it kind of makes it hard because, of course, your clients can't be still like mannequins, right? That would be the ideal client to be able to do this type of work on. So you still have to be really handy and creative with your process, and definitely have a very still and sure hand. So as you see me putting a little water here, brushing that hair down. Once again, it allows all the hair to kind of stick together. Now, I am using the Babulous trimmers. I do appreciate the fact that they have longer teeth. So for, jobs such as this, you're gonna need to be able to cut through longer hair. That's just the way it goes for this area. Because we're going into like a 3 or a 4 guard, so that hair is a little thicker in this area. So as you can see, it's still a little thicker than I wanted for those clippers, so I decided to take a little bit more of that hair off. All right, and get a little bit of that hair out of his face. So let's go ahead and try to attempt putting that line in. And once again, that's what makes it so difficult, is because, you can't go back once you start your line. So you have to kind of make sure that wherever you're going for, this is what, this is where we're at. So, and supposed to be. So he's like, oh boy. I get it, man. And sometimes it does feel that way for barbers, It's like, oh man, I've never tried this before, because I've actually never tried this haircut. So these clients brought this picture to me. This is a vision that they had that they wanted me to bring to life. So it's my job to give this youngster his version of that cut that he brought to me. So he and mom, right? So just looking to put those lines in. And the reason why I created that V shape at the bottom is so that I kind of know where to stop my line at the top in the job that I'm doing now. So instead of just setting my guideline without that V, just a flat surface all the way around, that V served as kind of like an indicator to where my line above was gonna go, if that makes sense. And that's just the way I chose to do it. You didn't have to do the haircut that way. Just the way I chose to do it. All right, so that looks pretty good. I don't think I wanna go too much further into the other side of that line. That V goes straight down, so that, using that comb for like a ruler, as it is a straight line, it showed me I had a little bit more to go, so, all right, looks pretty good there, go straight down. And then we'll start the other V from the other side from that same bottom point, So I decided to try the left side, doing it wet, and then show you all the difference and try to do it dry. So as you see me trying to go through my pattern path before I actually get into the cut. Now this is where I'll show you that it's still actually difficult with drier hair or with dry hair to get the lines in for me. So I'm still taking this side down a little tighter. So I use that 3.5 metal, which is going to take some of that hair off to try to get me the cleanest version of this guideline that I can, so it won't affect the trimmers, so that I can get a clear visual of the path of this line. So right off the bat, it was not working out so good. I mean, I'm trying to go over it. It's not, that path isn't coming out so clean. I tried to take that 3.5 guard, take a little bit more hair off, even use that 2 guard. The path still wasn't as easy. So then, I said, okay, let me just go ahead and do the same thing I did on the other side. Get some water, get that spray bottle, flatten that hair out, keep everything together and in sync, comb it down, and then try to put that line in. A lot better this time around. Trial and error is a part of life and definitely a part of the barbershop. So once again, I decided to wet the hair and definitely able to put this line in a lot easier. Now, a lot of times, your client is not as still as a mannequin, so you're definitely not cutting up something that's not moving. So that's definitely what makes it a lot more difficult. So as you see, I kind of go through and put a really thin line with the clippers and come back with the comb, and then eventually I'll make the lines thicker and more prominent. So these are some of the techniques that I used and use. Right, so it looks like we have the lines in. Look like they're in a pretty good place there. Look like he agrees. Right. All right, cool. So now that we have the lines in, it's time to set the next guideline. So I basically want to fade from the bottom up. And I want to go back and kind of refer to the picture just to see what the next step is from here. So it looks like we're a lot closer we're getting a lot closer to what this cut looks like. So basically I want to fade up from, it almost looks like a stubbly bald going right into a little bit of shade of darkness. So I don't want to kind of get that darkness out of there. I kind of want to keep that in there, but I still want to fade up from nothing to that. And we set the initial guideline with the number 1. So of course there is going to be some hair there. So I just want to get my cordless Andis Masters. And it does have that number 1 guard on there. So I just kind of want to open that lever up and fade into that darkness a little bit. Once again, I don't want to take that darkness at the top as he sees dad and brother pulling up to check out the cut. So once again, don't want to take that darkness out, but I did use that number 1 guard with a open lever. And I'm going up right into the dark point, but not erasing that dark point. Just looking to blend the number 1 that we initially set from the bottom into the number 1 plastic guard that we just put on the clip. So that's why I started with an open 1, because it's more like a 1.5 going into a 2. Eventually I'll use that 2 guard, try to keep everything dark still. So fading is all about, the transition, the shading. Fading is actually shading. So just want to shade everything in and fade it in as much as possible. Once again, he's seeing dad and his brother. Definitely got to give the family the shout out. This guy was a champ during this entire haircut. A lot of these haircuts, such as this, when it has designs and what have you, and it's a huge makeover, sometimes you can be in the chair for a while depending on the barber, and how fast the barber can cut and get you to the results that you want, if they can get you there. So that's always a person-to-person basis, depending on who's doing your hair. As you see me doing, fading everything in from bottom to top, top to bottom. Now, I've seen barbers, some fade from top to bottom, some will just fade 1/2 of a haircut, some will fade from bottom to top. So the thing that I do appreciate about cutting hair is that, it's pretty much your world. So as long as you get as close to the results as, what they're wanting, it is what it is. So, it's your world. So here, just using that number 2, as I told you before, I used that number 1, open the lever, that made it close to a 1.5. Now we're gonna use that 2, and I'm gonna close it because it's gonna be a true 2. I don't wanna open the lever, which is gonna give it like a 1.5 or what have you, close to 2 or 3. I'll eventually do that later, but right now, I believe that if I use that close 2 and just take it down a little bit, I can still keep that darkness and have a clean cut. So far, so good. Definitely my first crack at this haircut for this client, but definitely a fun haircut to do. Definitely appreciate you all for stopping by in the cut with us. Please like, share, subscribe. It definitely helps out the cause. So as you see that fade transitioning. All right, so this haircut is coming right along. We got the design in the back, so a little animation for you guys. So we're moving right along. This man's doing phenomenal. Like, when is this cut about to be done? Great job in the chair today. So this is kind of where we're at. Finally got a chance to put that line in there. Looking to bald from the bottom to the top. So as you see me close that lever up, which is going to give me like a stubbly to bald look. And I'm going to fade right into that number 2. As you see things getting bald now. So these are the steps that I thought I should take that help me bring this cut to life. Some people would have done very similar, some would have done a whole nother system, but this is basically how I achieved this look for this young man. So whenever someone brings in a picture, I basically like to run through my mind to see kind of what it is that I have in my arsenal that can basically get them to those results. So here, just looking to fade from pretty much bald right into that tube. So we are a long shot from how this haircut first started. And you all have been with me through every step of the way, getting a chance to see exactly how I created the cut. Now things are looking pretty fresh from this angle, pretty close to that picture. Always want to pull the ear out of the way. Whenever you're around those ears, definitely a critical part of barbering. Now as you can hear, the cordless Andis Masters, as you can see, they're doing a very good job. If you've ever used this clipper, it's still going to give you that phenomenal fade. But the clippers do talk to you a little bit or a lot louder than your corded version, which the corded version you probably wouldn't hear the clipper on now. But I still definitely love the cordless or the corded version. You know, they all have their pros and cons. So here, just opening up that lever, fading from basically a 1 into that 1.5, 2. So I'm not looking to go too high to where I basically take the darkness out that I created with the number 2 guard. So I think that darkness going into the top of his hair actually makes the fade kind of pop out more. So definitely not looking to take out of the darkness by going up too high. Now in some of my videos, I'll cut with wall clippers. Some of my videos I'll cut with Andis Masters. Sometimes I'll mix both. You know, it's just all about what you have in your arsenal that you're looking to bring this haircut to life with. So I thought that using the Andis Masters would probably give me the best look in this regard, but it's all preference. So. And furthermore, you know, your clippers are basically your paintbrush to an artist. You know, I mean, to Picasso, you know, this is what your clippers are. So, you know, you do your artwork, you do your fading, your shading, and that's essentially what haircutting is all about. Just bringing your art to life, making it look good on someone's head, getting creative. I definitely appreciate this haircut here. Although this haircut is definitely one of the more experienced or more difficult haircuts that you would be doing in a barbershop, you know, I definitely thought that it'll be a good idea to just kind of show people how I got to these results. So now it's time to add a little bit of pomade. So the top of the haircut that he showed me per the picture was kind of styled up. So I always want to at least try to have my client leave my chair with the desired look as close to the look that they gave me as possible, so that, you know, that ensures that when they go home, they'll be able to, you know, get the same results or near the same results. So mom wanted to take a little bit more off. Sometimes the product will kind of keep that hair up, such as in this case. So it gives us a more idea of how much to cut off and kind of the length that they're looking for. So even though we did take quite a bit of hair off in the beginning, they still wanted to take a little bit more off. So, and I definitely agree. Per the picture, I think this length looks a lot more reasonable and a lot more better for this client. So, always appreciate you all stopping by, chilling in the cut. Definitely checking out how I broke down the cut or did certain types of hairstyles. So definitely appreciate you guys. If you're not subscribed, be sure to do that so you can get notifications on any more videos that I may drop that you may be interested in. So that fade is looking pretty clean. We have the fade, we have the line. We've taken a little bit off the top, but we're just dialing it in a little bit more. So just kind of making sure everything is in sync. Everything looks as close to that picture that my client gave me as possible. So as we take a little bit more hair off so that that hair can stand up on its own. Once again, you are in the cut. Hanging out with us. Greatly appreciate it. So this is the before the haircut. Man, quite a long shot from where we are. I definitely like the way that fade looks better than all that hair. But what do you guys think? Drop a comment. So we got the fade, the cool design, dialing in that top a little bit more. Now I think I might want to add a little bit of texture to kind of give that textured look to the top. Texturize that top just a little bit. But here I'm just making sure that everything is even from all the way around. So just taking that guideline and going north, south, east, and west, just making sure I double, triple check my work to ensure that things are that much even for my client. So there it is, the texturizing shears that I was just talking about. So it doesn't necessarily cut the length in what's basically called a blunt cut. It cuts every other hair. So the length kind of maintains, the length is still there, but this is just gonna cut every other hair. So we're gonna give it a little textured look. Boom, there it is there. Let's get some of the hair off this young man. So bam, that fade. There's the design, there's the top. We're gonna use that blow dryer to get some of the loose hair out and to also add a little bit of volume. Try to get that hair to stand up a little bit. So as you see a side look, so we're gonna add a little water. All right, so go back look for you. Side angle. So now we finally got the baldness of that fade going right into the darkness. So I'm gonna take and clean some of that bottom up a little bit more. So these are just some of the fine-tuned things that I do in a haircut. As you can see, hair is falling. So some of the microscopic hairs that you can't see are actually coming off. So just like that. So this is what really makes a haircut really clean. All these little hairs that you're gonna see falling off that you probably can't see as good with your natural eye, but they are definitely there. So the weird thing about it is once these hairs leave, your cut instantly just looks better. So it definitely, as you can see that little hair falling there. So these are just microscopic hairs that kind of blend in, that take away from the cut in my opinion. So we get those out of there so everything looks the way it's supposed to look. Everything's clean, everything's even. Then we're just gonna put in his lineup. And once again, I'm using the Babyless trimmers. I like these clippers because they cut really sharp, they cut well. They don't really hurt the client as far as like the comfortability for the client. And they do have long teeth, so it kind of gets in those long hairs, those clients that have longer hairstyles. That's definitely a huge plus. as you see me just going over my design, cleaning up those lines, making sure that they pop out even better and making sure everything looks and appears that much more on point. So, as you see me just going over my work, crisping everything up. Feel like Picasso with this painting. Or paintings, whatever. All right, so there it is, looking a lot cleaner for you guys. Right, so here I'm just going to put those finishing touches on, grabbing the Wall Senior cordless clipper. So I'm just gonna do a little clipper over comb. Any of those hairs that stick out the side, I'm just gonna take those off. So you can see it right here. And then I think that pretty much dials this young man in as close as I can get to the haircut that he and mom had brought in. And here, just cleaning up my fade. So just going over everything very quickly. Any areas that I see that aren't even, that I might be able to fade a little bit more without doing too much, I'm doing that now. And this young man has been a champ, so shout out to this young man. Definitely did your due diligence sitting through this haircut, which is very difficult for most. But you know, my whole idea was to get you fresh, bruh. So he's like, all right, we're pretty much close to finish. Yes, sir. So as we clean this young man up, show you his before, how things were going when he came in. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Man, that's a lot of hair. Woo! Bruh brought me in some work. So, yes, sir. We had to get to work. You guys got a chance to see the work. Hand my young man the mirror. There it is there. So you guys get a chance to see the shot. So, did we do the job? Would you guys be satisfied? Do you think he's satisfied? Let us know. What do you think about the cut in general? Definitely a different hairstyle. Do you like it? Do you not? Is it fresh? What? I don't know. You guys let us know. All right. So you are in the cut. Thanks for hanging out with us. Little animation for this cool haircut. All right. So as always, once again, thanks for stopping by. Like, share, subscribe. Take care. Oh, almost forgot. Can't forget about the sauce, baby. Gotta get the hot sauce. A little astringent. Keeps everything clean. Yes, sir. Take care.